Hi there, it's Rob Russell with Resort Income Optimization. You know, a lot of hotels think that lowering rates is the same thing as a discount or a promotion, but there are some very important differences. Online merchandising makes a really big difference in how many people are going to see your hotel, and then even after they see it, how many of them are going to convert into bookings. So let's take a look at some of the differences in the online merchandising that really drives a lot more volume, because if you're lowering rates, you at least want to get a big bump in your volume, right? Before we jump into the video, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you can get future updates, and let's jump into it. Let's talk about promotions versus lower rates. So promotions drive volume, especially in a lot of these third-party marketplaces where there's a lot of different hotels and consumers are there. Remember why they're there. You know, they are there to search for value. They're looking for specials and deals, and they're searching variety, and they're kind of shopping around. So they are looking for some specials. And that's also why banners and strike-throughs matter. I'm going to show you a page here in a second, and we'll look at some examples. But these things really do matter in terms of the perceived value. And promos are not the same thing as lower rates. Promos cannot be put into channel managers, for example. So if you're someone who's gotten into the channel manager to kind of work on that yourself, you know that the channel manager takes the rack rate very often, and then it may push the gross rate out to each of the OTAs. It may also subtract commissions to push a net rate out. It may subtract 10% for the package rate. It may subtract, it may add 10% or $20 for the room with free breakfast, for example. So you can do those things. And so I've seen some hotels try and create a promotion in the channel manager and just say, let's say they take just 20% off right in the channel manager and then just push that rate out to the OTA. And we'll see here in a second why that is much less effective. And also promos must be replicated on each channel, in other words, in each OTA, because each of those platforms and technologies has their own tool, their own promotion mechanism. So you have to put the promotion in Expedia and then in Booking.com and maybe in TripAdvisor and then in your direct booking engine as well. So that can get very complicated. We talk about that in another module. But doing promotions on all of these channels can get very complicated if you have lots of different promotions and you make them complicated by room type or by meal plan and so on. It can get very complicated and very hard to manage, to the point where you might not be able to keep your rate parity for all of the dates. And then you start to have problems with rate parity, which then can also hurt your revenue. But let's look at some examples of promotions versus rate reductions. So this is a fairly typical example. These are 3 random hotels, and this is pretty typical of most markets. But if you start to look at some of the merchandising, at the top right, you'll see the strike through. I think what that very often tells the consumer is that this price, this hotel, is normally at $384, but now it's at $288. Well, that sounds like value. The $400 resort credit, it's also highlighted in green and even has a little gift box. That also sounds like value. The free cancellation sounds like value. At least today, at this moment, there's a free cancellation there for a certain amount of time. The deal there, that also is pretty attention grabbing. Not sure what it is, but if you click on it, you'll find out, and it's probably a discount of 20 or 25%. Reserve now and pay when you stay. So that is also very appealing to a lot of consumers. They don't have to pay for all of this now. They can, pay when they stay. And if all other things are equal, I'd rather pay later. So that's another attractive point for some consumers. On the second property, we can see that they have this banner here that's also very attention grabbing. In some markets where there's a lot of promotions, they only give the banner to people who are more than 40% off, maybe, or more than 30% off. So that will vary by market, depending on how many promotions there are. Also, the word today conveys a little bit of urgency. Now, it may also be there tomorrow, and it may be actually there for the next month, but today, this is 46% off. So that certainly can be effective merchandising. They also have a free cancellation, which is highlighted there in green text as well. They have the strike through, and they also have a member price. Get the member price. If you log in, you can get an even bigger discount. And that's a whole other topic, in terms of VIP offers or private deals. But if you log in, you can very often get a unique and even better discount. Now, by comparison, the property on the bottom doesn't really look that great. It looks kind of plain. It looks nice. The picture of the room looks nice. The rate is there, but there's no free cancellation. There's none of the sort of added benefits that the other two convey. Now, you might notice that it actually has higher guest ratings, 4.6 compared to 4.1 and 4.0 for the other properties. But a lot of consumers may not even notice that because of all the other things going on. So I think that's a very important point, and something to keep in mind when you think about pricing is all of this other merchandising that goes on and all of the information that consumers are trying to absorb as they kind of scroll around and try to make a selection. So hopefully that helped you see how you can get a lot more volume by reducing your rates. I mean, nobody wants to reduce rates, but at least if you're going to reduce your net revenue and your ADR, you want to make sure that you get a corresponding bump in volume, and you want to maximize that volume, right? So anyway, that's it for today. Again, subscribe to this channel so you can get future updates, and I look forward to seeing you. Thanks.